So yeah, today I will show you how to create a math parser in C with which we can parse these expressions, so very simple expressions with numbers, easy operands like addition, multiplication, and so on, and big integers. So what we first need are our libraries. These libraries. Then we create our main. With with an expression. Error handling will be done later or never, depending on who you ask. And then I will say I want a token list, so tokens, and then I need to parse these things. So I say parse to token this expression. Then I'll need instruct, because where should I store the data? I use in char so that plus is addition, and so on. It's easier to understand if you're looking at it. Then in value, then what we also need is an left side and an right side. No. I will say something about that later. But currently I will implement the parse to token method function, not method. Since we don't use object-oriented programming, we don't need methods, or don't have methods. So I get the size of the token times an base size. I'll set it to 128, then an expression offset and an array index, also at 0. Then what we can do is check if we haven't reached the end of the string and go into a loop. At the end we return whatever we have. So we now get whatever we have parsed in this cycle, and I call it get parse token with the expression as an direct reference, as a reference towards the string, and then I'll also need the expression offset so that the get parse token int offset, so that when I call this function, this offset, the e offset, will automatically be changed. And then what I can do is check if the opcode is 0, because then we know something bad has happened. What we also do is check if it's space, then we know something has happened, which shouldn't have happened, but it's not the end of the string. Let me make it a bit more beautiful. And then we set this thing into our out array. So idx parsed, and then we have to increment the index. Now, since we don't have a length, since we don't know the length of the object as an outside caller, we have either to send the length back, which currently is impossible, or what we could also do is end all of this with null. So this is what I'm going to do. Set that to nothing. And then, since our size could run out, we need to check if index is bigger or equal to size, and then double the size of our array and reallocate the out object with size of token times size, so that we have enough